Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Arruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick and mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I am passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you were meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspire and Move podcast. I am your host, Arruda, with my executive co-host, Matt Arruda.
Hello, everybody.
And we are in studio again, which is becoming kind of a really fun Friday date for us.
Yeah, I mean, getting real hot and heavy out here on Fridays with our studio podcast
We are
recordings.
up in the ante for us. And today's topic is so aligned with the season that we're in right now.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be aligned probably for the rest of our lives. It has been up to this point in our lives and careers accordingly, which is kind of the point of what we're talking about today.
And we are talking all about supporting each other and our brands in our growth season, our momentum season, our expansion season. We are very much in it. I feel like we have been in this season since about 2023.
Yeah, I would say hitting the ground running at a pretty healthy speed, more than just a jog.
Like Q3 2023?
Yeah, for sure.
And here we are, time of recording 2025, Q1.
And we're still running.
And still running. And even, this morning we had some exciting calls and conversations. But what we want to dive into today's quickie episode, but high value, is all about how we support each other.
Yeah, and I think, quick disclaimer, this is how, we find is the best balance for how we support each other. Obviously, we are life partners before anything else. Mm-hmm. But I think because we have such a strong schedule of what we try to maintain and keep up through the course of what's important to us outside of our relationship, our marriage, those kinds of things bleed in for the other to know what it is that we can do to help support that at any given time as well. We share a lot of commonalities, obviously, as most husband and wives do, but most husbands and wives do not work at and for the exact same company in which they both own. It's not a common thing. Most will leave at 8 a.m. and see each other again at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and kind of touch base on how each other's day were, and don't really know the intricacies of whether it be colleagues or upcoming meetings or things of that nature that happens between the 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. That's not the case for us. We are very, very involved in what happens because we typically share those schedules on a regular basis. So we're going to talk about how it is that we are as successful as possible, at least trying to help support those kinds of days every day.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm sure if you are already listening to the show, you guys know that Matt and I own a luxury boutique gym together, Benchmark Fitness, actually now a gym and recovery facility, mm-hmm. that we are really leaning into that recovery component as a way to really optimize your routine and health and fitness goals. But we have been in business together for 5.5 years, and we have an amazing episode that is all about the Benchmark story. So hopefully you can give that a listen. But we have been in this business together for these 5.5 years. That also have been some funky years in there. But previously we were in corporate, and we got to a point actually where even though we had very different roles, we worked for the same company, that we eventually got to a point where we could share each other's schedule and do a 1-hour commute together every day. Mm-hmm. 1 hour to the office, 1 hour home. And that was really even before we were deep into mindset work and personal development work.
It just seemed efficient.
Yeah.
Right.
Like for our, bills, effectively, our transportation costs.
A 1 hour drive is not a fun drive more often than not. So you planned our entire wedding.
In the car?
In the car, as I drove to and from work. It gave you effectively almost 2 hours every day to be able to knock off what you need to. But that's just a habit stack. That's just an efficiency component on your end. So these are the things we can do.
This ties in so beautifully to one of the things we wanted to talk about in our relationship is even how we carry different roles.
Yeah.
In our relationship within the home, but predominantly how it reflects into our business and personal brands. And, this example of me planning the wedding in the car, Matt drove and I planned our wedding. even now, where we come home at the end of the day, you are the cook, and I was going to say primary cook or predominant cook, but Matt is just the cook.
I am
period.
the cook. Yes.
Yeah, that is a complete sentence that you are the cook. And I was just saying this actually to some girlfriends last night, how telling them about this part of our routine together, that I actually find about a hour and a half, depending on how much time you need and dinner and whatnot, I find a pretty powerful flow state in the evening, kind of from like a 5:30 to 7 p.m. And depending on the night of the week, sometimes it's sparkling water, a kombucha, sometimes it's a glass of wine, but I will politely shut my office door and work by myself in my office, having a little bit of quiet time, which is nice to recharge, but that will allow me to do some work in our business. Whether it be, programming workouts for clients or administrative work, content creation, sort of depends on what is at the top of the to-do list and what's most important to get through. But I find peace in that sort of quiet time while you are doing something that you excel at, that you also find joy in, and it is a way to share our roles and efficiencies.
Yeah, I mean, for me, cooking is, if there should be another love language, and it should revolve around food. For sure. And I would probably say most guys feel that way. I think food is an important part to, an easy way to get to our hearts. But more so for me, I cook for people that I love. And I do that as a means of showing that I love or how I love. I think there's a lot of time that goes in, a lot of effort. There's a lot of little nuances that let you know that you're going the extra mile or doing little things maybe people don't even know, and then you get the end result being whatever wonderful dish it is. But all that to be said, I think what we're trying to say here is to be successful in a dynamic relationship that is moving quickly the way ours is from a business standpoint, and it has multiple facets that are coming in and coming out at any given point, you need to find what it is that you are uniquely good at or maybe better at than your partner. And it's okay to essentially, in this case, divide and conquer, where there are things that need to be done kind of a late afternoon, early evening time frame for the most part. And there are things that you excel at, that you're better at than I am, whether it be content creation or admin components, things like that, where I'm not going to do as well as you are. At the same time, we need to eat. And short of obviously spending more time and more money on foods that aren't necessarily better for you because you're ordering them in on a regular basis, and that's how you get your time back, you're not necessarily getting the best version of what you could be fulfilling yourself with that evening. So that's where I'm more than happy to do the cooking, A, because we know we're putting in our body, but B, it's also my time to kind of almost be a little more creative and find that downtime and be a little bit more in my own space, in my own world, not going 100 miles an hour because I'm really enjoying it. But me being able to do that while you're doing what you do so well means that neither one of us have taken our foot off of the gas at that point. We're still doing things that need to happen through until, call it early mid-evening, where we can finally say, okay, that's a full day. That's enough now. And we can come back together, have a chat, have a meal, both, quite honestly, or sometimes not at all, and just watch whatever we want to watch at any given point. And sometimes it's a really deep documentary, and other times it is Selling Sunset. and that's how it goes. That's real life. But either way, I think the first part is first recognizing what your strengths are that the other person might not necessarily have or do as well as you might do, and lean into that and be okay with leaning into that and knowing that both of these things are still moving the needle.
And I think we've really leaned into that over the last year, especially, that it comes down to you hit the nail on the head where you talk about each other's strengths and just really wanting to optimize that and how that can perform best for our life as business owners and high achievers, and being proud of the roles, which some of them are non-traditional. Like you see most homes that the female cooks or does the grocery shopping, and it is not the norm. I'm tech support in our house. And sure. You are chef.
That's right. And I don't know how to do anything other than reboot my phone. And sometimes that, not even. So,
actually, you typically just want to go buy a new one.
I was just like, screw it, I'll just buy a new one. I think it's dead, so I'll just buy a new one.
That was your answer. That's your answer for everything.
Yeah, we'll get a new one. Comes with warranty. It's perfect.
Yeah, just throw it on the ground, step on it, and I'll just buy a new one, and the problem will be solved.
Feel better that way.
But we've also started to really implement a routine as such with the morning and how we're setting up our day. And this has also taken practice. Like, this is not something that we've been, nurturing for years. This is relatively new to us, and we're grateful for it because, we are still very busy day to day. And owning a gym, we are there early in the morning. That I'm still training clients. I still start my day by training clients, and we love being at the gym in the morning because the energy is so great. And that's one of our busiest times. So you want to see the people in your community. But that also affects how we start our day and what we want to welcome from a setup and habits and whatnot. But we're starting to really enjoy this new-ish routine in the morning of having coffee. And I was just saying this on another episode, like coffee in a mug, especially as an early morning person or especially as a trainer, like that is such a joy moment.
Big luxury.
Oh, it's such a luxury. Like
Yeah.
a fresh brewed hot coffee in a mug. And we'll wear our robes and cuddle our dogs. And sometimes we have some mindfulness, like I journal more so than you, but if it is journaling time or reading time, but recently, probably because of this momentum season that we are in, it is very much like a syncing opportunity to compare notes on our schedules for the day.
Yeah, what this is really grounded in is like every other successful relationship, whether it be a personal one with your partner or from a business perspective, even if it's just between you and your employee or other colleagues, what this is all rooted in essentially is just communication, right? Just taking the extra time and effort to communicate. I'm a big fan of over communicating, saying the same thing 2, 3, 4 different times, even if it's the exact same way, so that there is nothing that's lost to chance, that everybody understood it the way that it was meant to be understood, and things get implemented along the way, especially when you're moving so quickly. And, we have our version of a busy life, but, there might be people who are listening to this right now that are entrepreneurial and they've got their own work, but on top of that, they've got a bunch of kids, or at least one. And that obviously takes a whole other schedule into account for school, for food, for extracurricular activity, even more to the point why communication is so bloody important. Over communication with your partner is so important. So for us, when we start these mornings this way, they're almost in a way, they're almost like these little morning meetings, right? But they're done in a less formal way. We get to drink coffee out of a mug. We get to wear a robe, put the fireplace on, hang out with the dogs, especially now where it's cold and dark in the mornings. We waking up, if we don't have to be at the gym until 8 o'clock or 8:30, let's say, if it's a luxurious morning, we're still up at 6 in the morning because this is the time that we have put the effort in to find the niche that makes the most sense for us, to not feel like it is a sprint from the second you wake up to the second you walk out of the door. Cortisol levels are spiked and you're feeling like you're already behind the game as soon as you've left the house. If you have the ability to control that, and all it effectively takes is waking up 60 minutes earlier than what you typically would, set yourself up with every advantage possible if nothing's getting in your way to do so. So if it means setting the alarm a little bit earlier, in the moment, like this time of year, it'd be nice to stay.
Would love a snooze.
Sure. Well, you'll feel better for the rest of your waking hours by taking that extra 60 minutes and setting a plan in place so that nothing comes to you, or at least most things don't come to you by surprise for the course of that day. That's going to be a lot better day in, day out for sure. You don't lose going that route. So having these little morning meetings where we're sipping our coffee and we're able to discuss about, there isn't a day that goes by where I don't ask you, so what does the day look like today for you? And this way I know what Allie's day looks like so that I am able to do my thing and ensure that, we are going potentially on different paths, but or getting to the same destination, whether it be for our job at Benchmark Fitness, for what we create there and who we're trying to support there, or maybe that finishes and you're able to obviously bring in other parts of your day that are equally as important, whether it be with meetings with some of our employees, or we have client meetings, you have podcasting to do. It's just important to know what it is that you've got in the day so that I'm not taking the car for the next 3 hours and you're wondering how the heck you're going to be getting to a spot that is 30 minutes away.
Yeah, fun fact, Matt and I actually only have one car, and we've been like that for 2-3 years. And we totally make it work. That based off of our lifestyle right now and our business and our home is very close. It's nice and walkable in the warmer months, warmer temperatures, but we can walk. And if not, it's very easy to take a $7 Uber, $12 Uber to go get my nails done or something.
Exactly. If that's all it takes and you get it done, so be it.
And so we have that solution, but I think also going back to the efficiency of always trying to think like, how can we be the most efficient way that we can operate in a day. So if it is, okay, just drop me off. I have this appointment. It's about an hour. You can go do this and this. And then we can actually both get home around the same time and not lose time, but also thinking about our dogs. Not quite the same as having children, but
they still need to eat.
Yeah, and go to the
and
bathroom.
to be looked after and find some social time spent with them and all the rest, of course.
I think also being in control of your own schedule, that I was saying this to a client just this morning actually, that there really isn't any reason for our dogs to be alone for 8 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Because we have the capacity, or pardon me, the ability to design our day in the best way possible that we can.
And I think I was talking to a gym member last week, and he was making reference to how, he would love to be able to find the time to start his mornings off slowly, as opposed to waking up and knowing that he's got 500 things to do and things are just firing left, right, and center. And then I said back to him, there's nothing wrong with almost incorporating the two, right? And kind of having this time where you can start your day a little slower, and all that is required is making the decision that you're going to have to carve some more time out for yourself in the morning. So you need to wake up a little bit earlier. You can't get up at 7:30 with a train to catch at 8:15 and think that you're going to still carve the time out for some sort of peace between those two time frames. It doesn't work. So you've got to find something that's going to require some sort of decision to sacrifice a little bit of sleep so that you can set yourself up better for the rest of the day. But having this kind of slow time before you have, a go time we have found it to be imperative for us to have a successful run out for the rest of our days every single day.
I think also looking at the things that become non-negotiable for you. And I know for me, but I think I can speak for both of us, that exercise and moving our body is a non-negotiable, especially going into a busy day and being in a busy season. So how do you need to structure your day or your rise time, which also reflects your bedtime the night before?
Yeah, it all starts there.
It's kind of the starts the night before of how much rest you're going to get for your mental health, emotional health, physical health. What time are you going to wake up? And then when are you going to prioritize that movement to set yourself up for success for that busy day, busy week, and busy month? And you and I have become really routine with what time we want to go to bed. And I'm so proud of us to really have leaned into that as a priority in our wellness habits, is going to bed kind of before 10 and getting up every morning.
Not kind of before 10.
Yeah.
Like 10 o'clock comes around, might as well be midnight at that point.
Oh, yeah. So like we are sleeping by 10 p.m. and getting up at 6 a.m. Whether it's, okay, we're getting up at 6 a.m. because we need to be at the gym before 7, which means we're going to have a double shot of espresso and pack up our bags and off we go. Or we're going to have a 6 a.m. wake up, coffee in a mug, robes, intentional morning time, conversations, and having that more relaxed flow into the start of our day.
And there's no right pattern for any one person, right? Again, this is kind of what works for us, what allows us to be supported to be successful with running a similar race, but doing different legs of each race. It feels like a relay almost between the two. And as long as I know what your plans are, you know what mine are through the course of the day, it's what's going to allow for the smallest likelihood of getting tripped up, obviously, finishing strong every single day.
So let's leave everyone with some powerful takeaways, like even some tangible tips, if you will, that what they can do and maybe welcome into their routine, especially if they are in business with their partner. But if not, just being there to support your partner in that busy season. Because again, Matt mentioned this, that not everyone is like us, where you are in business together and going through life and business together, building your dream, working in your dream. So for anyone listening, whether you're in business together or separate, what are some tangible takeaways and some tips that they can think on?
Well, I think it all starts with how you start your day, right? Whether or not you're starting from a place of peace and gratitude and the ability to know that you can be successful to take on that day. And ultimately, if you want something to change, you then have to change something first, right? Mm-hmm. And so if it's something is, I'll put it on air quotes because it's not necessarily this way for everybody, but the idea of waking up earlier might be the only thing you need to do to move the needle that much further so that you can move that much quicker through the course of your day. Just setting yourself up with a blank slate as opposed to waking up and thinking, holy shit, I have half an hour before my first Zoom call, or I got to still walk the dog in that time frame, and there's a sink full of dishes from the night before. These are all things that you got to take mental notes of to understand you're not setting yourself up for any type of success if you know first thing in the morning you are already sprinting literally out of the bed.
Mm-hmm. I think even, and you sort of touched on it quickly, but even welcoming a gratitude practice even whether you want to just say it to one another or like we
Write it
love to
down.
write it down,
Yeah.
but expressing 3 things that you're grateful for. I think that is such a underrated growth.
It changes your mindset, right?
Oh
Like
my gosh,
immediately.
yeah.
You could be grumpy because you had a crappy night of sleep and for whatever reason, drank too much the night before, whatever has you feeling cloudy and you're not ready to necessarily hit the ground running, but setting yourself up, saying out loud, recognizing what 3 gratitudes are, and they could be literally anything. They don't have to be anything dramatic or anything that comes from like a materialistically important part. It could literally be as simple as, you've got warm blankets. You've got
Healthy dogs.
a fridge that has a whole bunch of food in it. Those are simple things that you saying it out loud, I think completely resets the table for you to come from a place of feeling like you are grateful to get all of the good things that you've set yourself up for that day.
Agreed, 100%. And I think also comparing calendars. Again, if you are operating as a joint unit in business or you're separate, maybe one of you has a commute, one of you is working at home, but just comparing your calendars and communicating. It all goes back to what Matt
Just
said at the
communicate.
very beginning is communicating. Maybe you have a shared calendar that's color coded, maybe it's a fridge calendar, but just touching base. We like doing it again day by day. Kind of Sundays we'll do it typically at a week at a glance, like what's coming up. We also like to be very intentional with how much socializing we have in the week, whether it be, later nights, different type of nutrition, is there alcohol involved, but also our energy battery. That if you are in an expansion season, you want to be very respectful to the energy that you are outputting and how you're nurturing that. So we like to do that on Sundays and then the daily sync of our calendars.
Yeah, and lastly, I'd say recognize what your strength is versus your partner's strength. And it's okay to be different even though you're running the same or a similar race. But find your strength that's different from theirs and lean into it because they're relying on you to take up that part of the relay race while they find another leg of the relay race that they run themselves. But putting them together is what allows you to finish the race. But you both have to do it strongly to win. So ultimately recognizing what that looks like, for me, especially going to the end of the day, it's absolutely cooking. For you, going to the end of the day, it's last minute content creation or things that need to be put up or set up or shared with, emailed out that allow you to feel accomplished in that day. But if we do it at the same time, we've both scratched the strengths that are natural to us while not compromising the ability to stay as successful as possible within our lane.
So well said. Well, as we wrap things up here, we should probably just let everyone in on the big secret that we're working on. That we've got a really big project underway at Benchmark Fitness. And you want to be sure to be following us at Benchmark Burlington on Instagram. Obviously, you can also follow Matt Arruda, Ali Arruda on Instagram. We'll link everything in the show notes. But we're really excited. We've been working really, really hard for a bunch of months now. And it's going to be a big, beautiful addition to our expansion season. And we can't wait to share that with the world.
We'll tell them what it is then.
You tell them what it is.
It is Benchmark Fitness's first app. And it's something that we are going to be moving forward with through the course of the year. We're going to be continuing to integrate new things within it, but it's going to start in March. So we're talking based off of when this is airing, we're less than
Soon.
3 to 4 weeks out from launching our first 6-week challenge, community-based challenge, where we all start on the same day. We all do the same thing, but the difference being is that we have an app that will not only keep you accountable with daily accountability practices, but we are lining up all of the workouts. We've got a meal plan set for you. We've got recovery-focused components that you can implement. Little bonuses for any of our Benchmark members, where we also have body scan composition analysis reports that'll be available throughout that as well. So there's a lot of amazing things coming out of this app. It's just gonna be the first part of what we're implementing that we'll continue to expand on through the course of the year. But if you wanna be a part of the challenge, we do have limited spots for what it's worth. But if you wanna be a part of the challenge, that's gonna kick off. We're aiming for March 3rd. You know what? We are going to do March 3rd. We're just going to keep ourselves accountable, put it out there now. March 3rd is when it's kicking off. And like I said, we're all doing it at the same time. So March 8th is too late. If you're hearing this, you want to be a part of a community that's got your back, that'll help you rise up, that'll help you succeed, and it'll keep you accountable the whole way. Just let us know. Shoot us a DM, and we'll put you on the list and make sure you have what you need for March 3rd.
So exciting. Well, thank you all for listening, for being here. Again, if you have just like a few spare minutes and you would love to leave us a 5-star review, maybe a cute little rating, that would be so much appreciated. As always, thank you for being here. Thanks for listening, and thanks for your love and support. And we'll see you again soon.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you took 30 seconds and shared this on social media, send it to a friend, or leave a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I am so grateful to have you part of mine.